Sup, bitches?
You're watching Fugitive Redeye, and welcome to another episode of Redeye Responds. Today, for the second time ever, I'll be defending Darkside Phil on a point. Now, Darkside Phil is obviously a lolcow. Darkside Phil's pretty pathetic in a lot of ways, and there's a lot of things he does that I obviously don't like. But I don't have the same vitriolic hatred for him that a lot of detractors do. I enjoy watching detractor content here and there. I don't watch it as much as I used to. I tend to watch more King Cobra JFS stuff. But I do watch Darkside Phil detractor content from time to time still. And similarly to last time, this will be a case where a detractor is trying to make Phil seem like a racist or something similar because of a pretty innocuous comment that is true, but we'll get into that more. Kind of like how there was the joke that he made with that one game, and then Adam Krigler spurged out about it on Side Scrollers. This is different, but we're gonna just jump in. I don't think DSP said anything completely outrageous here. I think this is all pretty reasonable stuff. And for the fact that most detractors supposedly, lean right, I think it's kind of pathetic that they're using SJW leftist tactics, saying shit like, bigoted rant or racist rant or shit like that, where Phil makes a pretty accurate complaint as to shit that actually is a problem.
Interesting thing happened this morning. So there is a YouTuber, I have no idea what kind of content they make, but they go by the name of Count Dankula. Okay, I don't know what they do on YouTube, but apparently they're big, they have a following.
I like Count Dankula. I like Count Dankula a lot. Absolute Mad Lads is a great series, and Dankula's a pretty funny guy. I'm pretty sure Phil is bullshitting here. There's no way he doesn't know who Count Dankula is and what he does. I mean, there's a chance that's the case. But I feel like Phil is downplaying how much he actually knows about Count Dankula because Phil likes to pretend he doesn't like to talk politics and likes to try and skirt the line without offending anyone. Which, I think is bitch shit. I think he should just commit, but, that's that.
They made an interesting post on X this morning, and I wanted to talk about it because this is the experience that I get on YouTube as well, and I want you guys to understand what it's like trying to be a YouTuber. So, Count Dankula posts up this on Twitter this morning. Basically, he says, "Hello, everyone. I just want everyone to know I've just been informed. If you say the word..."
Pretty sure the word is fuck or fuckin' or fucker, which I think it's kind of also fucking gay. That just gets bleeped out here. I get it. Duty here is monetizing it. I get it. Also, no relation to my friend Duty. This is Duty Streams. Different person altogether. But pretty sure the word is fucking.
At any point in your video, even long after the 1 minute mark, your entire video will now be demonetized. It's a new rule that they are rolling out because it used to be fine.
That's YouTube's bots for you. Just completely, adding in new shit that they censor and not telling you about it, and then just fucking, being inconsistent as hell about it.
Okay? Now, this person got so much attention on their tweet that Team YouTube on X actually directly responded to them.
Which, by the way, making a big stink about shit on Twitter is, the only way you can ever get YouTube to actually acknowledge a problem or, respond to it at all. This is a piss-poor response they're gonna do. But to even get any response, you gotta make a whole big stink about it on Twitter.
And they said the following. One effing clarification for you, but they censored the word. That word only results in demonetization of content if you use it in the first 7 seconds or if it's present in the title or thumbnail. I'm going to send you a DM, but here's more info, and they linked to a Google article. To which Count Dankula directly responded, "It was at the 55-minute mark of my video. I explained all of this to you. You said, tough, and you just gave me a canned response and kept the video demonetized."
Yeah, again, that's a big problem, is inconsistent enforcement of rules, and then lying to you about it when you appeal it sometimes. Luckily, I haven't encountered that all that much. I've won almost every appeal I've done. There's only been, I think, one that I haven't. So that said, I haven't personally dealt with it, but I've seen the effects it has on people's channels.
So for those who don't know, YouTube literally does not have any intelligent people that you can speak with about anything. They don't have a customer service department, okay? What they have is called a partner help chat. If you are a YouTube partner of a certain stature, if your channel has a certain amount of subscribers, if you get a certain amount of views, if you've been around for a certain amount of time, you have access to a chat room, which you can talk to people on YouTube and try to get help. I can look at it right now. Here it is. Chat with a customer support agent right here, okay? So you might say, well, wait a minute. Customer support, that sounds like customer service. Well, you just said you can't talk to someone. You can't. Because if you click on that customer support icon, it opens up a chat with a person on the other side of the planet who barely understands English, and I wish that I was exaggerating when I said that. I'm not. This is not me being a bigot. I'm telling you the truth of my experience actually talking with people in that support chat. They basically can't understand English sentence structure.
Again, there's nothing wrong with what he just said there. When companies put shit overseas and you run into a language barrier, there's going to be a problem. It's not hateful to say, hey, I want to fucking understand the person I'm talking to and I want them to understand me. That is a thing that happens, and we do send too much shit overseas. We're heavily reliant on places like India. I remember when I worked at Geek Squad, they fucking outsourced their computer support to the Philippines, where they have these online agents that's what they called them, their repairmen that they had online, connect to their computers from the Philippines remotely and do service that way. And a lot of the times, these guys would take forever to do it. There'd be all sorts of problems. Basically, it was luck of the draw with what you got there. And so this is a very real problem with all this shit with stuff going overseas. And, you know, it builds on a problem I already have, which is you can't really talk to anyone for a problem anymore. Like I said, back in the day, when I first started driving, when I would go for car insurance, for instance, we'd have our own personal insurance agent. Whereas now, everything's done through an app, everything's done online, and it's really fucking irritating. The apps and stuff don't have the ability to figure out how to navigate shit like a person does. For instance, the apps might have poor navigation, they might not have the option you're looking for, and you might not know how to submit a claim, for instance, because you don't know the proper fucking way to do it in the app because maybe they don't have an option you're looking for. But if you're talking to a person who knows their computer system and they're actually filing the claim manually, they can put it in. But because everything's so fucking automated now and goes through an app, again, different issue than the whole overseas thing, but, you know, similarly connected, where everything is just outsourced or digitized.
Try to tell them something, and they'll have to, like, have you say it 3 more ways to even understand what you're saying. They basically can't understand shit, okay? Then, all that they do is they try to throw at you articles from the Google Help page trying to explain how Google works or how YouTube works. They literally don't have the ability to help you in any way, shape, or form. And I'll give you an example. A couple years ago, I found a really big problem with YouTube. I actually found a weird bug or loophole that was allowing people to actually be incredibly malicious to people on YouTube with no way to stop it. This could actually create huge legal problems for YouTube if they allowed it to continue. I went to the customer or the support chat for partners. I explained the entire situation to them. They pushed back and told me this is not true, that YouTube could not have this. They found no support articles to actually corroborate what I'm saying, nor do they believe that this could actually happen. Therefore, it must not be true. I said, but here's the evidence. And I showed them step by step the evidence of where it was and how it was taking place. And they still argued with me, saying that I was wrong and I didn't know what I was talking about. Okay?
Yeah, that's the other problem, is even when you do get people, they'll argue with you. YouTube is notoriously bad at handling things like this. I think it's interesting that detractors are coming to the defense of YouTube. Like, I mean, granted, they're not really defending YouTube per se, but they have to say that act like Phil's like super wrong in all of this, where he's right, YouTube is really bad at handling a lot of these situations. Everything's so departmentalized and the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. This is how a lot of companies work, by the way. Again, going back to when I worked at Geek Squad, we used to have a department called the Store Issues Escalation Department that I could transfer people to if, let's say, hypothetically, you go into a store, a Best Buy store, and the manager there tells you to go fuck yourself and then whips his dick out on the table. Well, let's say you wanted to call and complain about that to the company. Well, that's what we'd have the Store Issues Escalation Department for, right? But they got rid of that department and didn't give us any way to do anything about it. So basically, if you had an issue with someone at a store, you were just fucked. That was just it. That was terrible. There was literally no solution. So this is an issue I can relate to all too well, because, you know, I'd have to tell people, yeah, basically you're fucked. Like, I'd have to tell people that when I was working customer service. Obviously, the example I gave was extreme. No one ever, you know, told someone to fuck off and whip their dick out. That's just obviously a joke. But, you know, people would have genuine grievances with, you know, people at stores, and there was no department to deal with it anymore after a while.
I again contacted them for a different issue entirely, explaining the entire issue. All right? They then sent me a help article that had nothing whatsoever to do with my issue. So again, I re-explained the issue, said, no, this is the issue, not what you're saying, to which they again sent me another help article that had nothing to do with my issue. I said, I want to talk to someone who has the ability to help me, to speak with someone at YouTube who is intelligent, who can comprehend what I'm saying, so that we can get some intelligent response, because you're not helping me. All you're doing is copy pasting articles that have nothing to do with what I'm talking to you about. You want to know what the person said? They said, "Sir, please do not insult me." I said, "I'm not insulting you. You are not understanding what I'm telling you. I've tried 3 times to explain it, and you keep linking me to unrelated articles. You're not helping me. Please give me over to someone else who can." And then they just said no, and they closed the whole chat.
I don't get how you can get mad at Phil when he's completely correct on how frustrating it is to have bad customer service. I don't get why this is a point that people want to use against Phil. Like, he's right. Bad customer service with people who don't understand you or don't know what they're doing. These are both real problems. They're very big problems with customer service.
This is YouTube help. This is what they actually hired people across the globe who don't even understand English. They don't understand the basics of YouTube. All they're told to do is look for keywords in what you type in the chat and link articles. And then close the chat.
And I've said this before and I'll say it again. If you're operating, you're working, doing business with someone in a country, you need to be able to speak and understand the language of that country. If I was running a business in Mexico, I'd be expected to speak Spanish. If I was operating in Japan, I'd be expected to speak Japanese. So it's kind of rich that people have a problem with saying, hey, this guy doesn't even fucking speak English. He doesn't know what I'm saying. He can't help me. It shouldn't be controversial. If you're operating and doing business with people who speak that language, you should be able to speak that language yourself so you can properly do your fucking job.
A lot of these YouTubers don't do what I do. What they do is they put out highly edited videos, right, that are targeted content for a certain audience, right? And if that video gets demonetized, they make no money today. They make no money for several days, right? Like, think of these YouTubers that are not live streamers, but they just put out these edited videos. If their giant project gets demonetized, they don't make any money on their work.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that YouTube is super inconsistent with enforcing monetization policies. Obviously, I would never be monetized because I'd be demonetized in a heartbeat. But I can feel for the people who have had this be their job. Like, obviously, you're not obligated to a job. You know, YouTube isn't obligated to operate any specific way. But some consistency would be fucking nice.
Right? This actually was a huge problem for Angry Joe.
I never really cared for Angry Joe. I never enjoyed his content, never really watched him.
Many years ago, he started coming out and saying, I don't know what's going on. YouTube keeps demonetizing all my reviews. My reviews are my bread and butter. So if I don't make money on my reviews, I can't make a living. This is ridiculous. Why do they keep demonetizing me? And YouTube would just give him these form letter responses.
Yeah, that's the thing, is they just give you a template. Like, for instance, if you get a strike or a claim or something that you try to appeal, you just get a template, and they never tell you specifically what the problem is. They'll just tell you which policy, and sometimes they don't even do that. But they'll just tell you, you know, this policy was violated, and then they won't give you any specifics where. No timestamps, no acknowledgement of what specifically was said that was a problem, nothing like that. They're super cryptic, and that's by design.
The DSP Throwback channel has this problem every single day. Every single day. Last night I did a stream, Retro Replay Dark Souls. I uploaded 5 videos. Of those 5 videos, 3 were flagged as ad unsuitable. So what I did is I submitted them for review, and now they've all been approved for ads. But the algorithm on YouTube doesn't work. The algorithm on YouTube has never worked. It's a faulty algorithm that constantly flags videos for demonetization, and then you have to say to YouTube, no, you're wrong. Have an intelligent person look at this, not an AI bot that is dumb.
Again, I agree completely with what he just said. Like, the YouTube algorithm is AI, and that's a problem with it, that it can't pick up on nuances and stuff like that, and it'll make misdetections all the time. There was an Undertale stream I did one time that got flagged for child endangerment, and then I appealed it, and then they're like, oh, you're right, there's nothing. Like, it was literally a Sans fight, and it said that it was child endangerment. Like, it was me playing Undertale, nothing else. And, like, the appeal was, you know, resolved in my favor, as most of the appeals I filed have been. But still, it was fucking stupid that it happened in the first place.
In this case, what Count Dankula is saying is their video got demonetized. They did put it up for, you know, review. It still said no demonetized. So then he went and talked to the YouTube chat agent, and the chat agent told him that the moment in question was 55 minutes into his video, and that they were not going to monetize it, and they closed the case. So he goes on social media and explains to everyone YouTube is doing this to YouTubers, and their social media team countered and said, oh no, we only do that if it's in the first 7 minutes, to which he says, no, you don't. You don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Again, I completely agree. YouTube has no consistency when it comes to this shit. For instance, I also had a stream that, while it was live, briefly said, you know, stream currently taken down for policy violation. And it didn't say which policy, there was no strike on it, and the stream was still up. But I ended the stream since it was blocking out my screen, and then, after a day, that segment that was covered up wasn't covered up anymore. It was back to normal, so it realized there was no problem. So I don't know why in the moment there was a problem with it. YouTube has a big problem with this shit.
And this is the problem with a company like YouTube, where they just rely completely on automation or uninformed employees who are paid probably pennies on the dollar of what they would be paid if they were actual Americans who understood how YouTube works or even understood basic English language structure. And again, I'm trying to explain to you, this is not me being bigoted or prejudiced. This is my experience that they don't even understand what you're saying to them in an English sentence. Their brain is baffled. They can't understand the statement.
Again, why the fuck is any of this controversial to anyone?
Why are you, here's my question. Why are they even employing these people? Why? Why employ people who don't understand the people who they're trying to help?
Cheapness, dude. Like, it's fucking... The company's cheap, and they'll pay for inferior shit because it costs a lot less. Like, again, I agree with Phil 100% on this.
Literally rather have no chat than a chat that's worthless. You see? The chat used to be different. There actually used to be people in that chat many years ago who were smart and who could understand what you were saying and would try to help you. That was like 5 to 7 years ago.
And I guess that's just a symptom of how big YouTube has become. But yeah, I think you get the point. This has been Fugitive Redeye. Have a good one. Toodles.
What am I watching? I don't know, but I hate it.
Subscribe to Fugitive Redeye.